Hi there. I had a really good question from Abdul from peer.io, that's peerr.io, which is a fantastic little community of people working in and around healthcare innovation, health tech, and digital health. And the question was, are the governance issues something that we will have to do every year, taking into account that there are costs associated? Short answer, yes. But it does also depend what those governance issues are. Let's start with the standard ones, the ones that every business will have to deal with. Do you qualify to pay the ICO registration fee? That's not a fee which actually certifies you as being any good at data protection. It's just a fee that says you meet a bunch of criteria in law and you have to give them some money. Good news, it's not actually a huge amount of money unless you're employing thousands of people, which as a startup is unlikely. The first tier is about £52 a year. It's just gone up from 40, and that extra £12 I know will be a big challenge for a lot of people. But basically that says you qualified basically. So that's one cost. Not really an issue, just pay it, get it done. The second kind of potential thing you're probably going to need to do, and for a startup probably I would say from a information governance bit, is going to cost you the most in time and potentially in kind of getting a supplier in to help you, is the NHS Data Security and Protection Toolkit. Why does it cost so much? It covers quite a lot. There are basic kind of things I would expect a business to be able to do from a data protection perspective. If you're working in health tech, DSPT is actually it's not a low bar. There's a lot of criticisms of it, and some of those might even be deserved, but it's not a small thing, and that's really well worth pointing out. It also depends how mature your business is. So if your business is less mature when it comes to things like cybersecurity, then that's going to make a difference. If you haven't got your mobile device management sorted, that could make a difference, because part of what DSP looks at is not just your product, but actually the entire organisation. So the other piece that I would say kind of 10 adds a bit of time is, have you got your business continuity things licked? If you're a new business, you probably don't, and that's okay. And so what I'd say here is it is a fantastic opportunity to improve. It's a really, really good way to get your compliance program up and running in year one. And I kind of view DSPT like launching a rocket. It takes a lot of effort to get that rocket into orbit. But actually once you're in orbit, it's just a case of giving a little bit of burn every now and again to keep you on the right trajectory. But if you don't do the burn, it's going to take you longer to get back to where you want to be. What are the other governance issues? Well, it sort of depends. There could be local governance issues that comes up if you have a DPO that's taking a particular stance on something. Then that might be something that has to be revisited periodically. But generally, my experience has been, aside from R&D, which has its own peculiarities, you're probably not going to have too many local issues that come back periodically. The way to diffuse all of this, and this is my kind of number one tip when dealing with the NHS, don't wait to be asked. Give it to them. Give them a model DPIA, give them a model which shows that you have essentially thought about how they would do it. Give them a model privacy notice for them to implement if they want to do that. Give them your penetration tests if you've got an application. Show that you know what you're doing, and that engenders trust. I appreciate that that's quite a high cost. What about the other governance issues? Well, there are a bunch of other things that I'm not really terribly qualified to talk upon but are worth mentioning. If you are building up products that need to go through MHRA or HRA approval, or some sort of testing, there are those things to consider as well. Most of those things, certainly from the HRA side of things, for REC and CAG, are things you can learn, but again, there are people like I who can help you navigate through them if you need the assistance to a lesser or greater degree. MHRA I am less familiar to talk about, and so I won't. but just consider maybe getting someone in who does know what they're talking about. All of this, in terms of being a founder, starting a company, the big pieces, the big decisions you will have to make are, what can I and what can I not do myself? That's really hard. Certainly within the data protection piece and within that space, there are lots of people who will want to help you. And I mean that genuinely. There are lots of people who want nothing more than to see you succeed. Most of the people like me who are doing data protection with and for and alongside the NHS come from backgrounds where we want to see patients' lives improved. That's really important to us. There are other issues that may crop up, and these are probably the more in the unpredictable box, or predictable depending on how soothsayer like you are. We saw yesterday the abolition of, I'm recording this the day after the abolition of NHS England. We're going to see that big change over the next couple of years. That's going to create a level of uncertainty in terms of, are there going to be more regulatory hoops to kind of jump through? It's possible, but I think let's take one day at a time. I don't think that's going to come very quickly, and actually I think what we will probably see is a bit of stagnation. So, are there issues? Are there things that you'll have to do? Yes. Is it going to cost you in year one? Yeah. Should that cost go down in year 2, 3, 4, 5? Yes, I think is probably the answer, depending on how fast you scale. That's the other big thing. If you scale at a steady rate of maybe kind of, let's say 10 people a year, you're unlikely to change, I don't think, a huge amount. That should be nice and steady. There will be a point where you have to think about, do I need to get someone internal to help run this thing? It really depends what your business is. My recommendation, however, whichever model you go for, whether you are doing things, having someone in-house, is you probably need someone with data protection expertise to fight your corner. People buy from people. Data protection practitioners trust other practitioners. Most of the time. Some of the time. They trust them more than anyone else. It is fundamentally a cost that you'll have to grapple with. You can either shake your fist at the sun or put on a sun hat. Have a good day.